Hello first grade, so today we are going to be talking about how to document our own history. And our learning objectives will be that we will understand people from different places and times have made art for a variety of reasons. We will understand purpose of some everyday objects is to record personal history. We will be able to create art for a purpose of recording our personal history, and we're going to be able to use materials and tools safely and properly. So the way that we're going to record our personal history today is with handprints. So you're going to start with a square white piece of paper. You need to write your name and the day you have art. Day A, day B, day C. You're going to flip it over and you're going to fold it in half twice with your name on the outside. You're going to open it back up and that'll give you 4 squares. And each one of these squares I want you to trace around your hand in the square with your pencil. And make sure your hand fits inside the square. And now you're going to use oil pastel to color in each one of your hands. And color each one in a different color. And don't use black. We're going to add black at the very end. And so if you add black now, it's going to hide what we do at the very end. I want you to color in nice and neat and press hard with the oil pastel to make a nice heavy coverage. If you color just normal with the oil pastel, it kind of looks like crayon. So press hard to get a nice velvety thick covering. Okay, so then you're going to get a blue placemat to go under your work. You're going to get a paint tray, a watercolor paint tray. You're going to get a water basin and a paintbrush. And I want you to color each one of these squares a different color, the background. So when you use watercolor, you want to put a puddle of water on top of the color. So I just dip my paintbrush in the water and pull it against the edge of the oval to get a puddle of water on top of the colors that I want to use. If you have a messy color, if you just wiggle your paintbrush around, clean it off, wiggle it around, clean it off, it gets that dirt off the top. And the oil pastel is going to resist the paint, so you can paint right up against the edge of your hand and the paint will not cover up the oil pastel, especially if you colored heavy and dark like I asked you to. Color like oil pastel, thick and velvety instead of thin like a crayon. And each one of these squares a different color, not the same color as the hand oil pastel that you did. So this hand is a blue-green, so I'm not choosing a blue-green paint to paint in this space. Now I'm going to skip around a little bit because if I paint this one or this hand right here, the background, that's going to bleed together. So I'm going to give the paint a little bit of time to dry, but it won't be perfect. So I'm going to paint this box next. Now, when you're painting the two edges, if it starts to bleed and touch a little bit here in the middle, that's okay. It's to be expected. It's next to impossible not to do that. Okay. So then you're going to clean up your paint mess. This is going to go on the drying rack, nice and flat and careful to dry so that the colors don't bleed and run into each other. You'll put your paint tray back in the drawer. Okay. And the last and final step, when the paint is dry, is that you're going to do a hand print onto the top of your drawing. So you're going to get a little cup of black paint and a paintbrush, and you're going to paint your hand. I'm going to put my fingers close together because I just want to paint the bottom. Oops, I'm dripping black paint on my artwork here, so definitely don't do that. Don't put your hand over the top of your artwork as you paint it. I want to get the palm of my hand and my thumb. It is a bit messy, but it's the fun part. And this is where your personal history comes in, because then you're going to add your handprint to the top, press down firmly, and then pull up to get your handprint. So I didn't press down very good with these 2 fingers, so I need to remember to do that on my next one. Paint my whole hand again. Get plenty of black paint on there. There we go. That's better. And you do this 4 times because you're going to print your hand in all 4 boxes. So there you have your finished documentation of your history. and we're able to create this artwork for the purpose of recording our personal history. Good job, first grade.